Angela Raynor, before we get going on all of that, you heard the Prime Minister give a kind of guarded and at least partial apology for his humbug comment in the House of Commons. What's your response?
Well, I'm really disappointed with the Prime Minister board support when they've been getting a lot of misogynistic death threats and abuse.
The problem with the language, and there's no doubt the country is badly divided and very angry, is that it's on both sides. Brendan Cox has made this point very directly, that it's not just the Conservative side or indeed the Leave side of the argument, it's the other side as well. You're both at it. And it's time, he was suggesting, for both sides, including the Labour Party, to dial it down a bit.
I absolutely agree that on both sides of the debate there is a lot of anger out there, and I think actually the important distinction is that, like I say, I acknowledge that people even on the Conservative benches have been extremely supportive, and our benches too. We have a responsibility now as parliamentarians to dial down that language and act responsibly. Boris Johnson, as our Prime Minister, is using number 10 to inflame and divide our country as a direct strategy. I think that's irresponsible. I think it's wrong. Not only does that cause problems for politicians, but actually for our ordinary constituents on the street. They're feeling the wrath of all of this anger, and that must stop.
OK, so when it comes to colleagues like David Lammy, who on this programme compared the European Research Group of Tory MPs to Nazis and then refused to apologise to that, or to this country, that's the kind of language from your side of the House that you would also deplore?
Yes, I think all that language has to stop. I think we all have a responsibility over the next couple of weeks, anything else, and that's the difficulty that we face currently.
That suggests to me that you don't think there's going to be a vote of no confidence this week in the House of Commons, because that would have to be led really by Jeremy Corbyn, your leader. You must have had discussions about it. You must know what's going to happen.
Jeremy Corbyn
and doesn't have an answer of its own. You've now got more days to talk. What are you going to do with it?
Well, some of the things that we've said crash out of Europe, which will be disastrous.
And then Labour policy is now that you will negotiate this and take it back to the people in another referendum. You have in the past described another referendum as disastrous.
Conservatives have failed to be able to provide a deal.
Another bit of chatter about what the Commons might do over the next few weeks is reduce the voting age to 16. Is that possible?
I've not heard that chatter, but I think it's absolutely...
Would you like to see that?
I would like to see votes at 60, because it was something there's children.
Like to see
I think they should be able
which
to
could
do
affect the next election if you brought it in now to take the vote down to 16.
I absolutely agree with that policy.
Big boost for the Labour Party, of course. Talking about sort of selling things on the doorstep, as we were just now, what about this idea of the Labour Party conference going for complete free movement of people, a new regime which would be much more, as it were, pro who voted Leave in your constituency, partly on the issue of immigration?
Well, we've said we want a fair system, and I think that there's one of the distinctions between ourselves and the Conservatives at the moment. We won't dog whistle to blame immigration for the issues that we face in our society around the cuts to public services. We know where austerity has come from. It's come from the Conservatives. If you look in our National Health Service, if you look at a lot of our public services, there's a lot of people that come to this country. But I think it's really important that we say, quite categorically, that people come to this country have given a net income increase to our country and have a value, and that we shouldn't be scapegoating people that come to our country legitimately to either learn in our institutions that props up our education system or through our public services.
Your party conference has committed the Labour Party to maintain and extend free movement, to go much further than we are at the moment. Are you really sure that's going to be a popular policy on the doorstep?
I think it's misleading to suggest that somehow we just have complete open borders. That's not the case.
That's more or less what your party policy now says.
That's not the case. We said we need a fair system, but we won't scapegoat for people that have made the England and made the UK their home, who have contributed to our society. We have a long history of that, and I think it's important that we recognise that. We're not going to allow language on the streets like Boris Johnson used, like calling Muslim women letterboxers and allowing that dog whistle of racism to take hold in our country. I'm proud to be part of the UK that's multicultural, and I think we have to have a fair system that recognises that.
The other big policy in your area, of course, at the party conference was an all-out assault, pretty much, on private schools. Would you like, after 5 years of a Labour government under Jeremy Corbyn, to have no private schools left in this country? Is that your objection?
I want a comprehensive state
So no private schools at all of them out?
Yes, I want a comprehensive state education system, and I want to stop subsidising private education, which is elitist, and that entitles 7% of the population to do better than the rest at the expense of everybody else. We have to invest in everyone's education.
And would you agree with appropriating their assets as part of squeezing them out of business?
Well, we've said that obviously we would act within the law. We've said that our Social Justice Commission will look at the situation in regards to assets and what private schools currently have. But private schools have been subsidised by the taxpayers for far too long. This has to stop.
Angela Raynor, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.